What's going on, everybody? We've got a busy Saturday slate, and there are some pretty clear angles once you look at the recent team form, the scoring trends, the bullpen situations, and the way these clubs have been performing overall. Let's jump right into it. First up, the Yankees heading to Fenway to take on the Red Sox. The Yankees are not having a good time in this series so far. They've made a lot of mistakes, the offense has not been sharp, and the early results in the matchup have gone against them. On top of that, this is a team dealing with a lot of missing pieces, which makes the current offensive struggles even more noticeable. The good news for the Yankees is that the bullpen has actually been one of their strengths. They rank near the top of the league in bullpen effectiveness, so that part of the roster has been holding up. But when the offense is this banged up and this inconsistent, it becomes much harder to trust them in road spots like this. Boston, meanwhile, has been one of the most disappointing teams in the league this season. That's the cleanest way to say it. The record has not been good, and the offense has been near the bottom of the league in runs scored. Even though the batting average is not awful, the overall offensive production has not matched expectations at all. The bullpen has been phenomenal, and that's the one part of the team that has consistently shown up. But even that hasn't been enough to make this a comfortable team to back regularly. For the side, I'd give a slight lean to the Yankees because Boston just hasn't done enough offensively to make me excited about laying a price with them. But my best pick is under 8.5 runs. Neither offense is in a great place right now, and that makes the lower scoring side more appealing. Next up, Houston taking on Detroit. Houston is in a rough spot in this series too. They're getting hammered in the current game, and that kind of result raises some concerns about where the offense is right now. Even though they've been able to win games recently, the production at the plate has clearly started to drop off. The bullpen has also not been a strength. It's been a below-average group all year, and that creates real problems when the offense is not giving enough support. That's the main issue with Houston right now. The team is not quite looking the same at the plate, and the pitching has not been sharp enough to fully carry them. Detroit comes in with a disappointing record, but this is still a team that has some ability to bounce back in the right kind of spot. Their bullpen has been decent, and the pitching profile is a little easier to trust than Houston's in this particular matchup. The biggest concern for Detroit remains the offense. They've been near the bottom of the league in runs scored and batting average, and that is a huge reason why the season has gone the way it has. Still, this is a game where the home side gets a chance against an opponent that has been shaky too. My best pick is Detroit at home. For the total, I can understand an underlook, but I'm not confident enough to make it a primary play. Next, Texas heading to Toronto. Texas is in a strong spot in this series. They've been putting up runs, they've been competitive, and they've shown better offensive energy than their season-long numbers would suggest. That matters because the offense has been their biggest weakness this year. The bullpen has been a bright spot for Texas. It's been one of the better units in the league, and that helps keep them in games even when the offense is not fully clicking. But right now, there's at least some momentum at the plate, which makes them a little more dangerous. Toronto comes in struggling. They're on the brink of another series loss, and the offensive numbers are still not close to what people expected from them last season. They've had a rough time scoring, getting on base, and slugging consistently. The bullpen has been solid, but it hasn't been enough to cover up the bigger problems. This is also a spot where the price feels too high on Toronto. They're not playing well enough right now to justify being that kind of favorite against a team that has been competitive and has shown better recent form. My best pick is Texas at plus money. For the total, I'm not interested in forcing the over. I'd rather stay off the total here. Next up, Cincinnati heading to Pittsburgh. Cincinnati is in a better spot than the record may suggest, especially with how well they've been throwing the ball at the top end of the rotation recently. Their recent team form has been better, and the offense has at least shown some signs of life with the lineup getting healthier. The bullpen is still a clear concern, though. That has been one of the weaker groups in the league, and it keeps them from being a team you can fully trust. Even so, the top-end starting pitching and the recent improvements give them a real chance in this matchup. Pittsburgh has been sitting around .500, but that record still leaves them behind in the division race. Their offense has been one of the better parts of the team overall, and that has helped them stay competitive. The issue is that the bullpen is not strong enough to make them a fully reliable side either. This feels like one of those games where the number matters a lot. Pittsburgh at home is not a terrible option, but I think the value is with Cincinnati, especially given the recent form and the better pitching edge. My best pick is Cincinnati to win. For the total, I could understand a look toward the over, but I'd rather focus on the side. Next, Philadelphia heading to New York. Philadelphia is one of the stronger teams on this slate right now. They've been winning series, the offense has been heating up, and the team is clearly playing with a lot more confidence than it was earlier in the season. That offensive surge matters, because they've been producing in bunches and finding timely hits. The bullpen has been solid enough as well. It's not a perfect group, but it has held together well enough to support the team while the offense has taken off. That combination has given Philadelphia a much stronger overall profile. The Mets, on the other hand, are in a bad place. The record has fallen apart, the losses have piled up, and the offense has been one of the weakest parts of the team all season long. They've been near the bottom in runs scored, on-base percentage, and slugging, and that's a brutal combination. Even if the bullpen holds up, the bigger issue is still the lack of offense. That makes it hard to trust them in a matchup like this, especially against a team that is trending the other way. My best pick is Philadelphia to win. For the total, I don't have a strong lean, but the Phillies are the better team in better form. Next we have Kansas City heading to Chicago. Kansas City is in a rough spot. They've been getting blasted in the current series, and that tells you a lot about where the team is right now. The offense has not been reliable, and the bullpen has been a major problem all season long. The offense is still not where it needs to be. They've shown some decent season-long numbers in spots, but the production has not matched the metrics enough to make this a comfortable team to back on the road. Chicago, meanwhile, has been playing much better than expected. They've turned things around, they're tied at the top of the division, and they're finding ways to win. The bullpen is not perfect, but the team as a whole has been more stable lately. The big concern for Chicago is still the offense, especially with key pieces missing. That keeps them from being a perfect side, but in this matchup, they still look more trustworthy than Kansas City. My best pick is White Sox at home. For the total, I like the idea of a first 5 under or no-run first inning look more than a full game under, because both bullpens still have issues. Now we have Arizona heading to Tampa Bay. Arizona has had a rough season overall. They're only one game over .500, but the bigger story is that the offense has not been close to where it usually is. They've been sitting near the bottom of the league in runs scored and slugging percentage, and that's a problem for a team that has traditionally been much more dangerous at the plate. The bullpen has also been just average to below average, which makes things even harder when the offense is not carrying its weight. Arizona has had some decent moments, but this has not been a clean or consistent team for most of the season. Tampa Bay has had its own issues, but the home split is a big part of what makes them interesting. They've been excellent at home and the market is clearly showing respect for that. The concern is that the pitching situation is not fully clear yet, and if this turns into a bullpen game, that's not ideal for Tampa Bay because the bullpen has been mediocre overall. The Rays have done a lot of positive things recently, and they've already put themselves in position to take control of this game. Still, with the price being this expensive and not having full clarity on the pitching side, this is not a spot I want to force too hard. My best pick is Tampa Bay to win. For the total, I'd also lean under, but this is more of a wait-and-see spot because of the unknowns. Next up, Washington taking on Baltimore. Washington has had a really strong season in some key areas. Their offense has been one of the best in baseball by the numbers, and that's a huge reason they've stayed dangerous. They've also been pretty good on the road, which always matters in a spot like this. The biggest issue for Washington is the bullpen. That unit has been one of the worst in the league, and that creates pressure every time the game gets into the later innings. Even when the offense gives them a lead, the bullpen can make things uncomfortable. Baltimore has had a disappointing season overall, but they do have a few things going for them at home. Their offense has been better than Washington in some areas recently, and the team is at least competitive enough to stay in the mix when the pitching is working. The pitching matchup makes this one interesting. Both teams have had quality performances from the mound recently, and that makes the side a little harder to separate. Because of that, I think the total is where the cleaner angle is. For the side, I'd give a slight lean to Washington. But my best pick here is under 9 runs. Next, Seattle heading to Cleveland. Seattle's season has been built around pitching more than offense. The bullpen has been very solid, and that's been one of their biggest strengths all year. The problem is that the offense has not shown up enough. They've been near the bottom of the league in runs scored, slugging percentage, and batting average, and that's a tough place to live if you're trying to win consistently. Cleveland is in a similar kind of offensive shape. They've had a hard time scoring, they've had trouble hitting for average, and they've struggled to create enough consistent offense to really separate themselves. The pitching has kept them competitive, and that's why they've stayed in the division race. This shapes up as a game where both teams may struggle to score enough to get the number over. Seattle has the better bullpen, and Cleveland has been good enough on the mound lately to make this a low-scoring type of game. That's the kind of setup I like when the offenses are both shaky. For the side, I'd rather stay off it. My best pick is under 8 runs, and I also think no-run first inning is worth a look. Next up, Chicago heading to Milwaukee. Chicago has been playing better lately, and that matters. They've put together a strong stretch, they've shown more offense recently, and they come in with some confidence after winning all 4 games against the Mets. Even so, the season-long offensive profile is still not elite, and there are still some questions about whether this pace can hold. Milwaukee is in a very strong position. They've taken over the top spot in the division, they're winning consistently, and they've been especially strong at home. Their offense is not built around huge power numbers, but they score runs, they get on base, and they keep pressure on opposing pitching. The pitching edge also looks favorable for Milwaukee. They've had a strong starter profile and one of the better bullpens in the league. That makes them difficult to fade at home, especially against a Cubs team that still has some offensive inconsistency in the background. My best pick is Milwaukee win. For the total, I don't have a strong play, so best stay away from the total. Next, Colorado heading to Minnesota. Colorado has actually shown some real positive offensive signs this year. They've hit better than expected in a few key categories, and that gives them at least some reason for optimism. But the overall team profile is still held back by a weak pitching staff, and the bullpen has been one of the worst in the majors. Minnesota, meanwhile, has had a frustrating season, but they've still been able to stay in the mix because of the division they're in. Their offense has been serviceable, and at home they've had enough opportunities to stay relevant. The big concern for Minnesota is the bullpen, which has been a major liability all season long. This is one of those games where the starting pitching and the matchup context matter a lot. Colorado's overall record is still poor on the road, and Minnesota should be able to use home field advantage to their benefit. The Rockies have shown enough offense to keep games from being completely dead, but that pitching staff makes it hard to trust them. My best pick is Minnesota to win here. For the total, I don't hate the over idea, but the better angle is still the Twins. Next, Miami heading to St. Louis. Miami has actually been playing better lately. They've won some series, they've put together a stronger stretch of games, and their bullpen has been one of the best in baseball this season. That's a big reason they've been able to stay competitive even when the offense hasn't always been perfect. The offense has also improved as the season has gone on. They're not an elite scoring team, but they've been better than expected in a few categories, and they've shown enough balance to keep things interesting. St. Louis has had a rougher stretch. The team got off to a good start offensively, but the season-long numbers have settled in more toward the middle of the pack. The bullpen has not been reliable enough to fully trust, and that keeps them from being a team I want to lay too much with. This is a spot where the early numbers matter less than the overall team shape. Miami has the better current momentum and the stronger bullpen profile. My best pick is Miami to win. For the total, I'd wait for more information before getting involved. Next, the Dodgers heading to San Diego. The Dodgers continue to be one of the best teams in baseball. They're near the top of the league in runs scored, batting average, on-base percentage, and overall offensive production. Even when they have a couple games where the scoreboard isn't massive, the season-long profile is still elite. The Padres have had a rough time on offense. Their recent offensive numbers have been especially poor, and that's a major issue when they're facing a team with this much firepower. They do have a strong bullpen, and that's the one thing that keeps them respectable in a lot of games. The problem is that the Dodgers have the clear edge in the overall team profile, and the price reflects that. San Diego at home is not a terrible team in general, but the offensive gap is too large to ignore here. My best pick is the Dodgers here. For the total, I'm not excited about forcing the under because the Dodgers can break games open quickly. Next, Atlanta heading to San Francisco. Atlanta is in a strange stretch right now. The bullpen has been excellent, maybe the best in baseball, but the offense has gone cold. That's a tough combination because you can have all the pitching in the world, but if the bats are slumping, it becomes hard to turn that into easy wins. San Francisco is dealing with the opposite problem. The pitching has been pretty good, but the offense has been a disaster. They've struggled badly in runs scored and on-base percentage, and that makes them a very difficult team to back with confidence. This game really comes down to which weakness you trust less. Atlanta's offense is slumping, but San Francisco's overall offense has been worse for longer. On top of that, the Giants at home do not give me enough confidence to justify a strong favorite price. My best pick is Francisco to win. For the total, this is a game where a lower scoring result makes sense. Last game on the board, the Athletics heading to Los Angeles to take on the Angels. The Athletics have actually had a pretty strong season overall. The offense has improved a lot, and they've been one of the better teams in the league in runs scored, on-base percentage, and slugging percentage. That's a real positive, especially with the team being in the mix in the division. The main problem for the Athletics is the bullpen. That group has been one of the worst in baseball, and that makes them harder to trust in close games. Still, the offense gives them enough of a ceiling to stay competitive. The Angels have been a mixed bag. They're last in the division, but they've had some recent success and the offense has held up better than expected in a few categories. The bullpen is a problem, though, and that keeps them from being a team I want to fully buy into. This is one of those games where the home side has enough to be interesting, but the market will probably stay close because both teams have clear flaws. For the side, I'd give a small lean to the Angels. For the total, I'm not looking to force the under here. So that's the board. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with somebody who's betting these games tonight. It helps the channel a lot, and it lets me keep bringing you these daily picks and breakdowns. And I'll catch you in the next one.